Hey everybody, Tracy Brown here, and it is Friday, June 28th. Oh my goodness, all day long. I have been fielding calls and having conversations with people about the decision made by Tractor Supply Company to roll back on many of the things that they were doing under the banner of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so I don't want to let the weekend without spending a few minutes just kind of unpacking this situation. And there's so much. We could spend really a couple of hours talking about it, but I'm going to try to summarize what happened, what is going on, and the things to think about if you are a leader in an organization, a corporation, a church, any group that might feel you too are impacted by this decision. And if you follow me on LinkedIn, or if you follow the Intentional Inclusion page on Facebook, then you may have seen the commentary that I posted earlier today. But I'm really aware that some people don't read really long posts, and other people who may read the post but also just want something they can easily share, or something that really captures some of the key points, that it's helpful to also have video. So what happened? On June 6th, Robby Starbuck, who is a political activist and someone who has run for political office, even though he was not elected, he posted a list, a challenge, and he basically said, this company needs to be called out for what they are doing. And he listed a whole variety of things that he felt were, he and others that think like him, felt were inappropriate. The title was It's Time to Expose Tractor Supply. And some of the things that he described as problems at the company were that they provided LGBTQIA plus training for employees. They funded pride or drag events. They have a DEI council. They are funding sex changes. They are climate change activists. They have Pride Month decorations in the office. They have DEI hiring practices and LGBTQIA plus events at work. And in 3 weeks exactly, on yesterday, June 27th, Tractor Supply made a formal announcement of things that they would be changing. I'm quoting from the list, and I will put a link in the description. I will put a link if you want to go and read the announcement, the full announcement for yourself. But the 5 things that they announced is that, one, that they will no longer submit data to HRC, to the Human Rights Campaign, which does an annual survey of how companies are doing and what they are doing and related to LGBTQ plus initiatives and creating safe environments. Number 2, Tractor Supply Company said that they would refocus their team member engagement groups on mentoring, networking, and supporting the business. Number 3, that they're further focus on rural America priorities, including agricultural education, animal welfare, veteran causes, and being a good neighbor, and stop sponsoring non-business activities like pride festivals and voting campaigns. Number 4, they are committing to eliminate all DEI roles and to retire their current DEI goals while still ensuring a respectful environment. And number 5, withdraw their carbon emission goals and focus on their land and water conservation efforts. So that's their list. That's their response exactly 3 weeks later. So in 3 weeks' time, basically, based on political pressure, Tractor Supply Company has dissembled much, if not all, of their focus on DEI. And I have not talked to them. I have not interviewed them. I know no one who works there. So I'm not going to blast them. This is just a commentary and a general reaction because the pressure is on. The pressure is on for many of our clients. Maybe they're in states where the state legislature is making decisions and policies to eliminate diversity or DEI programs and staff in universities. I live in a state like that. Maybe there are people who are in companies who are being pressured by their communities or by politicians or sometimes even by employees to demonstrate the business value of what they are doing under the banner of diversity, equity, engagement, belonging, justice, acceptance, or whatever initials or acronym they are using. And so I don't know all the details around why Tractor Supply Company made the decision they made. But it strikes me that it's happening more and more that companies are responding in this way or in similar ways, either because they're legislated to or because they don't have the ability to describe how what they are doing is directly linked to their mission, their vision, their value, their top business challenges or priorities. And so one of the things I do with all of the clients I work with is, like, I'm really pushing. I can't make them do anything, but I really push hard. Can you explain how this relates to your mission? Can you explain how this relates to what you have been telling employees or the public or shareholders or your top 3 business challenges or business priorities? And when you are not able to do that, it makes it harder to respond to pressure, internal or external pressure. It also makes it harder, even if you are living in a state where state legislators have banned DEI, it makes it harder for you to explain or to understand or how to revamp the activities you are doing, because if they're not linked to mission, vision, value, if they're not seen as critical and necessary, then you will not only lose momentum, lose reputation, but you will have wasted a lot of time. So there are 4 or 5 things that come to mind that I think of as kind of inoculations to this kind of pressure. And if you are not already doing these things in your initiative related to inclusion, then I would invite you to consider how you might begin to shift in that direction. So if you find your organization in the position that Tractor Supply Company found itself, then you will have a stronger stance or a way to understand and explain what to keep it. And if you do decide to release something, you'll have a clear reason for it other than someone pressuring you to. So number 1, inoculation. I already mentioned mission, vision, value, the culture, your industry, everything that you are doing under the banner of inclusion, regardless of what labels, specific labels you use, have to be connected to your mission, your vision, your values, your culture, your industry, your clients, and how it will impact them and why you exist. You know, it's very interesting. I did go look at Tractor Supply Company's mission and values because I was curious to see if there were things that existed there that would have given them leverage if they had tightly tied their programs and activities to that. And sure enough, not surprisingly, their mission is to work hard, have fun, and make money by providing legendary service and great products at everyday low prices. And they're committed to their customer. They have comments about their team and the mission to provide a safe, respectful, and inclusive work environment, investing in team member experience, a commitment to the community that's part of their mission, and their stakeholders and shareholders because they are a publicly traded company. And there's plenty there that all along the way as they were building their initiative, I am hopeful that they actually did make the commitment. You may have noticed inclusive even in the description of their mission as it relates to employees. And in the announcement that they made, they, even though they are dismantling their equivalent of employee resource group, are redirecting them rather than dismantling them. They have a comment in there about still intending to create a respectful environment, even though that they are eliminating diversity-related goals and all positions that are related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So it will be interesting to see if their mission changes in any way. And also in values, they actually have some very interesting commitment to values, ethics, being ethical, respect, balance, winning attitude, communication, development, teamwork, change, initiative, accountability. Now, I would argue that you can't do any of these if you are not paying intentional attention to the impact of different cultures, different age groups, people from different backgrounds. Like you can't achieve any of these or demonstrate any of these values without paying attention to diversity and how it affects the way that what people expect as well as how they behave. So again, this will be a case study to watch to see how over the next few months or the next year or two, Tractor Supply Company maintains these values, or will they change some of their values in order to be compliant with the commitments that they made in the announcement? So number one, inoculation, number one thing to really always keep in mind, mission, vision, values. And for me, that also does include what industry are you in? I can't just look at what someone in a completely different industry does because it may not work or it may not apply to our workforce or our customer base. Number two, inoculation, avoid the trends. Avoid the trends. Don't just do something because someone has said, this is DEI best practice. I cannot tell you the number of clients I have said, no, you can do that, but I don't recommend it because in your industry or in your organization, the way that you are set up, that's not really going to give you the return that you want. That's not going to actually help you achieve what you are saying you want to achieve in this strategy that we have been talking about. And often I'll get pushback and it'll be, yeah, but I've read 10 different studies and I've looked at the structure for 50 different companies that are on the Diversity 100 list, and they all have this. Okay, that's good. But that doesn't mean you should have it. So avoid the trends. If you don't need employee resource groups, or if you need to structure them a different way that actually makes sense for you, do that. Because when you get pressure or pressured, you have to be willing and able to defend what you are doing. So, for example, with Tractor Supply Company, they said that they're going to refocus their team member engagement groups on mentoring, networking, and supporting the business. And when I read that, I said, well, what were they doing before? Were they doing social events? Were they doing political rallies? I mean, weren't they already focused on mentoring and professional development? Weren't they already focused on what can we do to support the business to help this company achieve the goals? So refocusing them, it brings up a question for me. But again, right now, it's what are you doing? And are you able to talk about why you have these groups or any element in your strategy? Number 3, inoculation, keep in mind. Skills. Are you not only offering people information, but are you giving them the skills they need in order to communicate about your DEI or inclusion related initiatives, programs, activities? Because that's a skill. Being able to communicate about it is a skill. Are you giving them the skills to respond to questions? Are you helping people develop the skills to actually communicate, resolve conflict, understand is mental, but then how do you apply that understanding? And many organizations stop at awareness thinking that will lead to appropriate action. But the awareness, if you've worked with me, you know we have an achieving inclusion model, and it goes from awareness to alignment, helping people understand how your strategy and your initiative is in alignment with company priorities, then to action, and then to accountability. And so there are skills at each level that need to be acquired. And if you're a leader in an organization, you have the responsibility to make sure people have the skills they need. Number 4, inoculation, no silos. And this is a tricky one. Where do you even place, if you have a DEI program, where is it? I would say that 2/3 of the organizations that I have come into new that already had existing programs, that it was a program. It was a program and it was kind of buried under someone, often buried in the HR department. It's just one of the things that HR does. And the accountability is in HR. If you want your DEI program to work and to survive the pressures that you can expect to feel over the next few years, then the HR professionals, no matter how good they are, cannot be the ones who are accountable for whether your initiative or strategy is successful. It can't be a silo over here that then you can just go, oh, let's get rid of those people. And now we don't have that anymore. So how are you integrating the skills, the accountability, the alignment of your DEI initiative into everything that you do? If I work with organizations, I'm often like, all right, so everyone who is at the director level and above, or everyone who is at the VP level and above, what piece of the pie are they responsible for? And you have to have that long term if you want your programs and your activities to have impact, to get participation internally, to have a positive reputation externally. The responsibility must be extended over a large number of people. And number 5, inoculation is answer this question. When you are talking about diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, any of the inclusion related words, when you are talking about inclusion related topics, are they typically conversations about the issues and the problems, or are they typically conversations about the opportunity and the benefit? Issue, opportunity. What's the predominant conversation in your organization or even in your personal life with friends and family? If you're talking about how diversity is a problem, then you're missing the real reason to be inclusion focused, which is creating opportunities to get the maximum benefit in order to achieve the shared goal. And that requires a different mindset and a different pattern. So those are the things that I want you to keep in mind, or I'm encouraging you to keep in mind as you reflect on the recent announcement from Tractor Supply Company. Make sure your strategy is tied to your mission, vision, values, culture. Make sure that it's tied to problem solving or achieving your top 3 business priorities. Really be proactive in providing visibility for what you are doing, the individual elements in your strategy. Be proactive in providing education, not just standard or canned training that gives people the idea that you're trying to change their values or dictate their political views, and make it work related. Number 4, just remember that if you do have staff, which I hope that you do, staff who is dedicated to DEI or to inclusion, then make sure that that staff works in a way that the accountability is not on them. They are there to help the people, all the managers, all the leaders, and employees for certain things who have accountability. Your DEI staff is dedicated to supporting them so that they, throughout the organization, can achieve what you are holding them accountable for. Have some clear expectations with that accountability. And accountability doesn't just mean enforcing rules and kicking people out and creating a cancel culture. Accountability, in my opinion, and what I am often working with clients on, is how you reward the people who are doing what you want them to do. So I hope these comments are helpful. If you have elements that are already existing and you can't explain them in that context, then you have some time to make some adjustments. If you are in a situation where you're not sure how to build a bridge between what you want to do and what you are already doing with your business mission, vision, and values, then reach out. I'm happy to help you. We work with lots of people in different industries because it's really not that complicated when you're clear that this is a part of making your business successful, and it is not being driven by social memes or political beliefs. So my name is Tracy Brown. I'm so glad that you took 20 minutes to hang out with me today. These are just some comments that I think will be helpful for you. I'll put some links if you want to read the commentary on LinkedIn. Let me put it in the chat for you there. And if you want to read a similar commentary on Facebook, then just search for Intentional Inclusion or Inclusion Guide at facebook.com. Have a good weekend, and let's watch together over the next few days and the next couple of weeks what the feedback is from others, and maybe we can extend this conversation at that time. Bye for now.